Well, hello everyone, this is Joe Drums coming to you. Hope you guys are doing great. I'm doing awesome. I appreciate everybody liking and commenting about the last video with the Ringo drum set here. I've really been enjoying this drum set, been practicing on it, going back over some of the old Beatles stuff, and just kind of, it's really neat to play on a set that, you know, your favorite artist has, you know, done stuff with, and it's just really neat to kind of put your brain inside of theirs and try to think about what, you know, what were they thinking when they recorded this particular song. So I've been having a lot of fun doing that. Now the last couple of videos I've been talking about recently have been drum soloing. And of course last week I was talking about doing the Ringo drum solo. In fact, I did the drum solo from In the End. That was the only recorded drum solo, as far as we know, that Ringo did on recording. So phenomenal drummer, obviously. I think if anybody disses Ringo, they're really missing the point of his role in the Beatles. It wasn't for all show, it was really for the music, and that's what made the music stand out. I think you'll all agree with me on that. But anyway, so the last couple videos we've been talking about drum soloing has been like patterns and kind of things to do from a book. And I thought, well, there might be another way to go about this, because I had some subscribers ask about some different questions about, like, well, now that I have these exercises, what should I do with them? So there's a lot of different ways. Everybody's creative. You know, you think of Neil Peart, John Bonham, Keith Moon, and the list goes on of all these drummers that have actually done drum solos in the past. And every drummer has been very different in the way they play, the way they approach the drum solo. So I think if we had 10 drummers in this room right now and they sat down on either the DW set or this Ringo set here, I think you're going to see some totally different ways of playing drum solos. So I think everybody has a different way of playing. So when I had the question answered, you know, or asked, you know, what should I do when I make a drum solo? Well, the thing is, I mean, everybody's different. When I drum solo, it's usually spur of the moment stuff. I may have some little tricks and things that I do that I usually put in the same drum solo. When I do a drum solo, I try to keep that same kind of things incorporated in it. I might put them in a different order, but they're still in the drum solo. But I like to kind of do it spontaneously. I don't like to think too much about drum soloing. If you look at the Neil Peart way of drum soloing, well, you know, of course, he's got a lot of thought that goes into his drum solos. He's using electronic drums as well as the acoustics. He's using different triggers and different things to create this awesome sound, and almost puts you like the last drum solo on the last tour they just did. It really made you feel like you were in an Eastern Asian kind of thing. It was really cool. And he kind of like takes you different places in his drum solo. So very, very well thought out drum soloing by Neil. John Bonham, on the other hand, had a lot of technique. You know, being a single bass player, he would use a lot of triplets with the bass, obviously, and do things triplets with the toms, which is definitely, you know, the reason why I have a lot of the John Bonham drum sets. I've got the Vistalite and the Maples, and a lot of times I've done drum solos on those. If you haven't seen those in the past, check them out. When I watch John Bonham play, you know, you see him, he's thinking, but it's still kind of a spontaneous thing. But he still kind of has a lot of the ideas that he knows he wants to put in, and then he just kind of embellishes on those ideas and changes it. Every time you see him do a drum solo, it's never the same, but some of the ideas that he puts in it are the same. And that's kind of the way I like to approach my drum solos as well. If you look at Keith Moon's drum soloing, he only came up with just a spontaneous way of doing his drum solos. He usually had a lot more drums. He was always trying to outdo the other drummers around him by getting extra drums and cymbals and stuff. And he just had a unique way of playing, and just kind of like a bombastic way of, you know, spraying around the whole drum set and doing triplets and sixteenths, and you know, the guy was phenomenal too. In fact, that was one of Neil Peart's idols, was Keith Moon. So I think what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you guys and give you some ideas of where I would go with my drum soloing. I can't really kind of give you an idea and say, here, you know, this is what I want you to do when you make your drum solo. You really got to be creative. You got to think of different ways, but use those patterns that I gave you out of the book, from the Monster book, and also from the Paul Capozzoli's book with the triplets around the drum set. Those are great books to help you, give you ideas to what to do, but then you've got to kind of create this. You know, it's like Legos. You know, those little patterns and stuff are like Lego blocks, and you've got to create something with those Lego blocks. Think of it like that. And the same thing with, you know, with the drums. When I give you different patterns and different things, try to incorporate those in. I was told a long time ago that a drum solo has to have a beginning, a middle, and an ending. So you have to sit down, you got to think about at least an idea of, you know, it doesn't have to be exactly every time you go down to a, you know, do a drum solo on your drum set. You don't have to do the exact same thing every time in that order. But at least have some ideas of what you want to put in the drum solo first. And then kind of experiment with those and see how you can transition from those patterns to something, from one to the other. So the last video I just did, when I just did the Ringo drum solo, In the End, from Abbey Road album, if you notice, Ringo, he had kind of a bass drum going through the whole drum solo. That was the timekeeper of the whole drum solo. And then he kind of did these little sporadic little patterns that were really cool, but they didn't go continuously. They stopped, and then you could still hear the bass drum going a little bit. So that was really cool and very, you know, Ringo wasn't a drum solo player, but what he did for that spot, in fact, I even heard through the grapevine that he really even didn't want to do the drum solo for this, but Paul McCartney kept pushing him, you can do this, you can do this, and it finally ended up on the album. So, and that's great. I just love stories like that. If you guys have any other stories about any other drummers, you know, contact me, leave a comment. I love to hear stories like that about famous drummers. So, but one of the big things about Ringo when he was doing the drum solo, if you don't know about anything about the Beatles or about Ringo, Ringo was actually a left-handed drummer, or left-handed, and a lot of the fills that he would approach, the way he would play, would start with the left hand. And you know, me being right-handed, I probably maybe have done some stuff, you know, even some of the Beatles songs that I play with my bands and stuff, I still probably do them right-handed. So I'm not doing them exactly like Ringo, but hey, I'm not Ringo. You know, so I think, but I still have fun playing it. I love playing on the set. The set's fabulous. It's just awesome. I've been just having a blast, like putting on Beatles songs and going back over them. And you know, the set, I tried to get it to sound just like my Bonham kits to make it sound like Led Zeppelin. I tried to get this kit to sound like the early Beatles stuff. So anyway, so the last couple of videos I've been talking about drum soloing, and I had some books from Paul Capozzoli, and was talking about triplets around the drum set. Now that's actually some ideas to actually incorporate inside your drum solo. But I wanted to talk today a little bit about how to construct a drum solo, because, you know, if you've never done one before and you kind of want to do one, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be something planned. Okay, so what we're going to start off with is a kind of a very basic drum solo. A lot of the excerpts I'm going to be pulling out of the Paul Capozzoli's book, where we did triplets around the drum set. The bass drum's going to be on all four. I could sit probably and talk for hours and explain to you different ways of doing drum solos, but it's really going to be up to you. Everybody's different, but I hope you can take these ideas and branch them out on your own to kind of make your own drum solo. And again, nothing's right or wrong. As long as it's in time and you keep the drum solo flowing through and you keep going through it. Again, remember, a drum solo has to have a beginning, a middle, and an ending. So I'm going to kind of make a beginning on this. I'll put an ending in, or a middle in there, and then some type of ending at the end of it. So let's hope you enjoy this. Until then, you guys take care, keep rocking. Oh, don't forget too, if you get a chance, pick up the latest Modern Drummer issue and Drum magazine. It has Deep Purple on the drum, talking about Ian Pace, who's another great drum soloist. So check him out. and Modern Drummer. This is both the June issue, 2013. Okay, so to explain to you a little bit about how to do a drum solo, remember there's no one way to do it. There's millions of ways to do drum solos. Everybody's different. I'm going to create some ideas from the Paul Capozzoli books that are talking about triplets around the drums. So a lot of my ideas are going to revolve around that. If you haven't seen any of those ideas, look back the last couple videos I just did. I talked about a lot of different ways to play triplets around the drum set from that Paul Capozzoli's book called Around the Drums with Triplets. So look at that if you haven't seen that yet, and that'll give you an idea what I'm doing here today. So we're going to talk about how to get started playing a drum solo. Again, there's a lot of different ways. I'll probably start off with the bass drum, since it's kind of like a Ringo kind of idea. He's not the first one to do this, but again, we'll start with that and kind of get it going. Let's say I was playing a rhythm in a band, and I wanted to go break in right into a drum solo, kind of like the way Ringo did in the end from Abbey Road's album. So let's start that off. So if I was playing a beat, it would be something like this. Okay, so that's kind of how you can start off a drum solo. Another way you can do it is just literally just start right with a drum solo. Maybe do a roll or something like that, like a long roll. Long roll meaning it's one of the rudiments, one of the 26 rudiments. Now there's 40, but the first one that everybody learns is right, right, left, left. Right, right, left, left. But once you get that faster, you kind of start that like that and maybe get that going with your drum solo. So let's say I was right in the middle of a song and we get done. That would kind of start off the drum solo, something like that. The next step is you're playing into it. Now you want to kind of keep building this drum solo till it gets into like a big plateau, and then you want to end it. So that's how we're going to do it today. So let's say we'll move from the roll that I just did there to start off the drum solo, and let's kind of go around the toms and kind of move around that way. And that's what we're going to do with this idea. So let's take that a little bit farther. Here's the roll again. Let's say from there on, maybe add some more rudiments. Now there's another rudiment called the flam, which is taking the sticks, both sticks at the same time, and coming off on the drum, actually just hitting that drum just a slight bit different so that they land in different spots, and then you get that kind of brat sound. So, and you can do it on the toms. A lot of drummers like to put those flams into a drum solo. So let's hear what that kind of sounds like. So you're doing the tom thing. Alright, so there is those kind of patterns there. Now we could probably move on and start getting a little more technical and maybe throw in like a paradiddle. Remember, a paradiddle itself is right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. So again, with that around the toms, now that's not triplets, but it's still kind of a little bit of like a drum solo. So instead of just going, you can mix that up between the snare and the tom, so you get this. let's hear what that sounds like in a kind of a drum solo situation. So. Of course, that little thing I did at the end is actually from Bonham, that triplet. That's one of the famous triplets. Right, left, right, bass. You can mix that up. You can go triplet, go reverse. Okay, so that's an idea that you can take with that. Again, all of these are just, I'm throwing ideas out to you guys. Hopefully you can take these and make up your own drum solo, okay? Alright, so from there, we're going to kind of build it a little bit more, and let's take it a little bit farther, getting faster, and then eventually ending the solo. So, let's say I'm in the middle of another kind of a pattern, doing like a so there, as you can see, I kind of got really fast at the very end, and basically we're doing right, left, right, left, right, left, but in triplet form, and just kind of going between the toms. So that basically slowed down is. Anywhere on the drums, you can do it between the hi-hat and snare, or you can put it between the cymbals. I just happen to do it between these drums, and basically that is it. So again, hopefully these ideas were something to kind of spark some, new interest in playing drum solos. Again, a drum solo is not the reason why you play drums. It's never been. The reason why you play drums is to play with other people, other band members that you can jam along with, and basically a drum solo is extra added bonus that you would give somebody, an audience, and that's all it is. It's nothing that you have to do when you play, but I'm just giving you guys ideas out there. So I hope you take these. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them. Again, thanks. I finally hit 2,500 subscribers, so thank you guys, all the subscribers out there. Appreciate it. Thanks for all the wonderful comments you guys bring. And until then, you guys keep rocking, and I'll talk to you next week, and you guys take care.